Good morning, everyone. Hope you are doing well. Hope you are housed, and I hope that you are comfortable and that you are doing good in life and you are happy. Today, I want to talk about a few things. One is how much homeless people are discriminated against when it comes to certain things like renting a hotel room or eating in a restaurant, things like that. We have currently an injury case against a motel that we stayed in right after I was evicted. Big mistake us staying in that motel. We were going to go someplace else, but we were so tired we just decided to stay in the motel that we spent the first night in for a month. Unbeknownst to us that I was going to hurt myself very badly there and be stuck in bed for 30 days, but I did have an injury on property and kind of left Ben in charge of everything because I was in so much pain. I had to go to the hospital. They had me on like 5 different painkillers and it still wouldn't stop the pain. And I laid in bed probably for the entire time we were at that motel trying to get better before we lost the motel and had to go on the streets. We would never have been on the streets had I not gotten that accident because I would have probably gotten a job right away in that area. But because of the injury, I wasn't even able to look for a job. So we had called the motel and tried to negotiate with them, and all they wanted to do was give us one night in another motel, which I don't think was acceptable for all the pain and suffering I went through in that motel. Plus, they were very, very discriminatory against us in that motel. They just automatically assumed we were bad people for some reason because we have autism, and treated us very poorly, always trying to trigger us, always trying to, belittle us, make fun of us. It was really a horrible stay. I just didn't understand. I used to think, well, you're the guest, they should be treating you well, but they were very, very prejudiced against us for our autism. So anyway, there's another hotel that we stay at, but unbeknownst to us, again, it was owned by the same company and has the same corporate offices. So we went in last night. We were able to get a room last night, and when we went in to stay there, the manager told us that we could no longer stay there anymore. We were blacklisted. And I'm like, for what reason? Because we've never done anything wrong at that motel. We pick up after ourselves. We haven't done any damage. We don't bother anybody. We're not loud. Most of the time we're in bed by 8 o'clock. So there's no way it was anything that we did that we would be blacklisted for. But retaliation from the other hotel, because I have a lawyer now and we're filing a lawsuit against them. So yeah, that was very upsetting because then we had to go find somewhere else to stay, which is hard to find somewhere else to stay decent for the price and that will allow our dogs. So we had to look around, and of course I had a major autism meltdown because it was hot and we didn't know where we were going to go. And when you get it in your mind, I'm getting ready to go and lay down or go take a shower and relax, and then you have to go back on the streets thinking you're going to have to go lay back down under the bush. Yeah, that really messes with your mind. So so anyway, I was pretty upset over that, and we finally, after a little bit of looking, ended up staying in a Motel 6. It's kind of in a bad part of town, but the motel itself was pretty nice, but was more expensive than the other motels, so we could only stay for 2 nights instead of 4, which was, kind of upsetting because I'm not really ready to go back on the streets today. And anyway, I'm trying not to cry, trying to be brave, but anyway, I'm just, it's very difficult to understand the mentality of people. But anyway, if they don't give you a reason for blacklisting you from a motel, it's discrimination because they are required to tell you why you're blacklisted. because there's only so many reasons they can blacklist you, like for being a disturbance or for property damage or something like that. They can't blacklist you because of retaliation, because you're suing another branch of their company. It'd just be like if you slipped and fall in Walmart and you hurt yourself, and then they say you can't go to any other Walmarts because you had an accident. They can't do that. They can't tell you if you're suing your boss for discrimination or what have you at work. They can't fire you for doing that because that's retaliation. So basically they're retaliating against us, which is a lawsuit in of itself, really. But I'm not really wanting to have a bunch of lawsuits. I'm just wanting people to understand that they have to treat all people with dignity, whether they believe that they're a certain way or not. Because if you believe someone is a certain way and they're not that way, you're prejudiced against that person. It doesn't matter what color they are. It doesn't matter what mental health issues they have. If you make somebody else follow rules that other people don't have to follow, that's discrimination. So, I don't want to have to do a bunch of lawsuits and things. I just want to be treated fairly. So yeah, that's pretty upsetting to me to have that happen to us for no reason. And they actually liked us at that hotel. At least that was what they used to say. So anyway, if you're ever in the Phoenix area, I wouldn't stay in any of those Easy 8 hotels because they're a trap. Yeah, they're a trap. They're horrible. They tried to keep our money that we made the reservation with. We had to, call Priceline to get our money back, and we had to fight it with the bank to get our money back for the hotel stay. They're just not good people. It's just not good people. And I don't even know how good this video is, but I'm a little upset this morning, and I'm pretty upset about the way some of these contractors treat homeless people as well. We were in the respite center, and certain people would come in and say something and they'd leave, and then all the CIT or the CBI workers sitting at the desk there would be making fun of homeless people. I mean, are you going to work to try to find homeless people homes and then make fun of them? And they say that their hotel shelters are all full, but when we're sleeping out in front of them, it doesn't look to me like they're at capacity. And they only keep them for so long, and then they shut them down, and then they have more. And the police, we had a really bad incident. I have to go into this incident too. We had a really bad incident that happened. I think I told you about the lady that pushed me down at the bus stop, but then we had a bad incident with some homeless person trying to attack Ben the other day. And, the security guards and everybody seen him, but they did absolutely nothing. But we called the police, and the police had told us, because they're like, why are you guys sleeping out here? I'm like, we've been trying to get into this shelter for like 3 months. And they're like, I can't believe that they haven't got you, a room at the shelter yet. And I'm like, yeah. And he said that CBI is buying up all the old shut down motels and remodeling them and turning them into shelters. But yet they do, and then they close them down within a year. So it sounds to me like, I'm making an assumption here, but it sounds to me like they're just buying the shelters, getting the money from the government to basically open them up and remodel them, and then they're flipping them and making a profit, selling them. So yeah, there's some pretty shady stuff going on in the whole industry. And you wonder why can't they do anything about homelessness? It's because they don't care about homeless people. They're making a profit. There's several ways they're profiting off homelessness. One of them is just that they're taking the government grants to open these shelters, and then they get, for every person that they bring in there, they get so much money, like $25,000, and then they only keep them so long, and then they remodel and flip the place, flip the motel. So Yeah, there's too much money to be made off the homeless. They don't want to end homelessness. Ending homelessness would be simple. Basic ground level housing for all. And if it would cost a lot less than what they're doing now, and it would take a lot less leadership, which they spend so much money on employees and leadership. And that's one of the reasons that, we don't have enough money, we need more money. They're always asking for more money, more money. But they have more employees than they do people in their shelters. So it's just insane. And the CEO's making like $500,000 a year. So I don't know. I'm just so disgusted with this whole situation and with the homelessness and the unhoused people that deserve better. Because you can't just say, I've seen so many people come in that respite center lately that are over 60 years old. Like there was this gentleman that came in, he was 62 years old, his house was foreclosed on, and he made a good living. I forget what he said he did, but it had something to do with coding or, graphic design, that sort of thing. And he made a good living, and he had a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house. He lost his house. It was foreclosed on. And he's on the streets at 62 years old, retired. He has his Social Security income, but you still have to live on the streets until they can help him, and it takes some time. Seen another woman that was 72 in the same situation. So this is a really bad crisis that we're having right now, and a lot of things need to be done. But the main thing is that we need basic housing for all, because if you had basic housing for all, kind of like military housing, when you get out of high school, if your parents won't let you stay there, you can go get your own apartment. Doesn't cost you anything. Gives you a chance to go to college, to get your degree, to get yourself set up. And then from there, if you want to go into better housing, you can. But you have that base level housing for all. And then if you have problems later in life and you need something to fall back on, you can go back to basic housing. You should never have to live on the streets. That's absolutely ridiculous. And I really do believe within 3 generations, see, they always say, well, housing first doesn't work because, these people are drug addicts and they're messy. Well, it takes a few generations because the mentality and the habits people build up on the streets don't go away right away. It would take about 2 or 3 generations, but if we had base level housing, it would get rid of most all of the crime and the homelessness, and you wouldn't have poverty like you have it now where people's needs aren't even met. That is just, to me, disgusting. Absolutely disgusting that, you take somebody that's worked all their lives, that's paid taxes, that's gone to school, that's done everything they're supposed to do in their life, and then they have an accident and they're injured and they're not able to work, and they don't even work hard to get them in a shelter that's decent. They just let them live on the frickin' streets or stay in the respite center overnight. They don't even really look for housing for them because they don't have an income. They only house people that already have an income, and it's hard to be on the streets and work. It's hard to work in general, but to be on the streets and not have a home to go to at the end of the night to relax and recharge and for the next day, that's just about impossible. I know maybe some people can do it when they're young, but when you get older, my God, I can barely function as it is. I can barely get out of bed in the morning. I can barely walk. So it's sad. It really is, and it breaks my heart. One good thing, we did meet a wonderful person in the respite center that's on the same wavelength with us as far as, how this crisis should be handled, and the protesting and the singing of our protest songs and trying to get attention, that this crisis could easily be solved with the money that they've given us, but they refuse to do that. They want to profit these contractors, just like they do with the military. The military spends so much money on contractors that, and then they claim, oh, we spend so much money. Well, it's like, do things yourself. Don't use contractors. You're going to pay twice as much for a contractor. I mean, why doesn't the city just hire people to help put people in shelters? Why do they need CBI and CAS and all that? That's ridiculous. And then these people think they are in a power position because a lot of these people that CBI hires are already felons and drug addicts. You have to be sober for 2 years to work there, but you could be, basically a drug addict or a felon and work there and then get a power trip going on, and you're the one that gets to tell people whether they get housing or not. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm just disgusted with the whole thing. I really am. Sometimes I'm just at loss for words with how disgusting the whole situation with, unhoused people is, and how they, the longer you're on the streets, the more depressed you get, the less likely you are to be able to pull yourself out of the situation. The more wounded you get, the more you get attacked. I mean, I've been attacked now, and Ben's been attacked, and we don't deserve this, okay? And no one does, not just me, no one. I have a fighting spirit in me, but boy, I am just exhausted from the fight. So again, I hope you're all well, and I hope that, you're treated well, and that you have a home, and that you don't have to go through. I don't wish this on anyone. Somebody the other day, they rode by us in their car with their window down and said, "Get a job." And they had to call it the drive-by insult. They weren't brave enough to come out and insult us to our face, but the drive-by insult, so childish. So people, stop being so judgmental. Everyone has a story. Everyone is human. Your minds can get so messed up, especially when you're on the streets, because God, I had such a bad meltdown yesterday because I was hot and itchy, and I was like, we were already at the motel when they told us we couldn't stay there. I don't mean to cry, but, we have to, no matter how we travel, there's some walking involved, and my feet are so sore, and my ankles are so sore. And of course I have this arm injury, which makes it difficult for me to balance myself and for me to pull myself out of, the bus or just get out of vehicles and things like that. So, it was really hot, and when we got there, I was just like excited, that I was going to go in the motel, and then for them to tell us we're blacklisted and not even give us a reason for it. They didn't even give us a reason because they had no reason. It was discrimination. It was just retaliation. And that's horrible. So me and Ben have been looking into forming a homeless union, which there already is such things in existence. And places that can help out and train you, but there really needs to be a homeless union. Unhoused people need to stop using these stupid organizations to help them find shelter, and we're going to work for ourselves, and we're going to change things. So anyway, I appreciate you listening to my rambling. I don't even know. I'm just so out of it today. I just wanted to record something. But anyway, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope you're housed, and I hope you're happy, and I hope that you have all your needs met. But I still hope you have a heart for people who do not. And don't lose that. Don't lose the heart for people that are not, because once you lose your empathy and once you lose your heart for other people's suffering, you really do become a monster at that point. So anyway, peace, love, and light. Have a great day.